Welcome back to Cheeky Crypto Uncensored. Let's take a look at Solana's price action. We have of course seen slippage in the market, Solana being no exception here, suffering around about 37.5% drop in its price action, seeing it come down and bottoming out here at $79. But is this the end for the move to the downside, or could we still expect a move further down in the charts here towards 77.3 to $70 level? And a more zoomed out view on the weekly chart, well, I think we may have misstepped here ever so slightly. We may actually have a bit more of a bullish look before that bigger pullback into the $52 to $40 level. Let's look into this very possibility in today's update. Let's talk about Sol's price action, guys, but first of all, as always, let's run the intro. What's going on, and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto Uncensored. Of course, I am JB, and yeah, let's have a look at Sol's price action. I think we may have had a little bit of a misstep here, but we're going to cover it all off and really scrutinise the moves that Sol has played out. We'll start off first of all on the weekly time frame. Now, we were looking at this move internally possibly being complete at the high we did see, in the upper levels here for Solana, up at $126.36. The price has came back down, tested the $79 level, and it does look to have bounced from here. And this is quite an interesting level, this $79. This would be the minimum expectation for a potential wave 4. And what would that structure look like? Well, we would bring up here to the 10th of July 2023, we've seen the high of $32.13. Down into the wave 2 on the 11th of September, we've seen the low of $17.33. Previously, we were contemplating the move to have finished up in the wave 3 at $78, down into shallow wave 4 and bouncing on up. But I'm starting to lean towards that this move to the upside, $126, was in fact the wave 3. We've came down into the wave 4 and we're now looking for a wave 5, telling us that we have still got continuation within this wave 3 to the upside. This is just a possibility. The reasoning behind this, if we take the low of that wave 2 and the high of the wave 3, well, we can see that the 0.236 Fibonacci level, $79.07, well, we have came down and tested that area most recently for Sol's price action. Now, we can appreciate there may be further slippage to the downside into its typical retracement area between $59.16 and $46.80. This is still a possibility when we take into account the stochastic positioning, the 1 hour, the 4 hour, and almost the 8 hour in the overbought territory. We could still see further slippage and potentially still see a bit of a push to the upside. We cannot rule this one out yet. So what would that actually look like on the lower time frames? Well, this movement here is that drop down in price towards the $70 level we do have down here for Sol's price action. Yes, we have this target area for the C wave between $77.35 and $70.40. Falling just shy of this area, there is still that potential of slippage. As we covered, the 1 hour, the 4 hour and the 8 hour almost in the overbought territory, we could still see this price come on down. A couple of scenarios are playing out just now. Now, first of all, we have to know, are we impulsive to the downside in this C wave? And I do not think that we are yet. We have surpassed the 1.236 fib level. So the couple of structures we could be looking at, first of all being a potential WXY, coming up in the secondary X wave and come down into a Z wave. This is a likely pattern. When we consider the moves that are playing out internally, well, we do have a 3-wave count coming down in the W wave. We also have another 3-wave count coming up in the X wave. The Y wave itself, we will quickly measure this one out, guys. We'll take this low wick and its origin, bring it over to its next swing high, where we can see a bounce from its 1-to-1 level. So the idea that we may have this move coming up in the X wave, where it looks likely to test out the 50 EMA, the 50 SMA, and the 200 EMA before a potential drop to the downside. Now, what would that drop look like? We can take the 100% move of that W wave, bring it over to a predictive area. Let's just call it the 200 EMA for for instance, for reference, for this video, we would then be looking for the 0.618 down towards the 1.236 Fibonacci levels, coming between $80.89 and $71.03, giving us the idea that we can still come down in its price action in the Z wave, breaking that weak low and filling this target area. If this move does play out, which does look likely, well, we would of course see the 1 hour, the 4 hour and potentially that 8 hour all back in the oversold territory to line back up with the daily chart, where from there we of course would look for that next bullish movement. The alternative structure, we will just cover this one off, as we're in fact playing out a potential diagonal 5-wave move, and we would still be looking for a move down in that 5th wave, taking us into that retracement area. So whether it's WXYXZ or whether it's a diagonal 5-wave movement, the thought remains the same. I liken most of this W, X, Y, X and Z, given the fact we know the internal counts are 3-wave movements. The move to the downside is likely, in my opinion, bring us down into this retracement area. However, should we see the low here of $79 hold, well, the minimum is we would be looking for a retracement of that move that we have already seen, still bringing us down towards that $80 level. But more importantly, guys, I do think that this is the move in play, this Z-wave move, to bring us down towards $80.89 and $71.03, bring us into that C-wave target area of $77.35 and $70.40. So how would that look if it was structured out in such a way on the lower timeframes? Well, that move in itself, $77 towards 70 cents, would still bring us a little bit further down on the price action here in this 4th wave. But from there, a potential push to the upside, where we can draw this fib on. We'll bring it to the mid-level of that box just for reference, and that 5th wave movement in itself, well, we could see that come up and test out the fair value gap that we were looking at, potentially for that next movement, but that could actually be grabbed on this push to the upside. This fair value gap falling between $157 and $167. This could be a very interesting level for the price action to come up and meet. We would see that 5th wave target area here between $143 and $176. all rounding out this weekly move in that 5th wave before we would see the greater market correction. This is just a possibility, this is not a guarantee, but this seems like the most likely scenario to play out for Solana's price action. Given the current market climate, given the circumstances, the price action of Bitcoin, the talks we've obviously been covering over on the main channel surrounding the sell-off from the likes of Mt. Gox, from Grayscale, potentially the US government, there's a lot going on. I do think we could see a potential move from Bitcoin into altcoins. See that last push to the market. We have seen it countless times before. We're likely to see it again. And again, I do think we could see this happen just now. Nothing, of course, is a guarantee, but this is a very strong possibility in my opinion. Should we see that happen, of course, we will keep on top of those movements. But that is my thoughts, my opinions. Of course, nothing I say in today's video is advice. We don't give financial advice. These are purely our thoughts and our opinions. Do with them as you like. But that's where I'm looking for Solana. It does still look to have potential push to the upside. A move out of Bitcoin into altcoins I do think is likely in the market. I'm going to look to cover that off in a video later in the week, perhaps the weekend. Really interesting things are on the horizon for the cryptocurrency market, I do believe. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions on this in the comments down below. If you want to continue watching the content from the channel, which of course you do, check out this video right here.